Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy, doing a roundup with the Ghetto Tarot. So this was my deck for the month, and because, I just shuffled this just for the heck of it, you know how we do. What ended up on the bottom? This. This is why I didn't get to play with this deck as much because it's with me here. I had wanted to, try a variety of different readings with it. It's really like I've done with some of the other decks, and kind of put it through its paces and see if it was particularly good for one thing or another. But I was going through this kind of at work, just too much going on, exhausted. But the deck has been real steady for me. I've used it for the daily readings that I started. I've enjoyed the readings that I've done with it. And now it's time to move on to the next deck. So it's time to move on to the Santa Muerte Tarot, the Lestrani Santa Muerte Tarot. So I didn't think that there was any danger of my becoming disillusioned with this deck over the course of the month, and it's true. I still love this deck. One positive thing that came from this time is that I saw that I really don't have to worry about the background poverty situation going on in the cards. That I really didn't, as I've read with the cards, that really hasn't been that much of a factor for me. I just need to read it like a tarot deck and not worry too much about, all of this stuff. It's real life. Real life was happening to the people in Haiti and continues to happen to them. So the only thing that I could say about this deck that for me that is a negative is the heaviness of the cardstock. Makes it very hard to shuffle. It ends up being chunky during a shuffle unless you divide it into 4 piles and do 2 quarters at a time, and then it shuffles better. It does okay hand over hand as well, but that shuffling issue, because of problems I have with my hands, will be a deciding factor for me. Like when I'm choosing decks, I'm not naturally going to go to this deck. Another deck that I love that has the same kind of issue is the Prairie Tarot. It has really heavy cardstock. And I think that's one reason I don't go to it very often either. I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I guess I don't have any. It's just a great, as far as I'm concerned, it's a great all-around deck. Except for the shuffling issue. I would start putting this into more regular rotation because of the shuffling issue and the stiff cardstock. It will probably remain an occasional, a deck that I use occasionally. Should there come a time when when I have more time and have gone through my decks and, you know, have become familiar with most of my decks. This, I wouldn't be surprised if I chose this as another month-long exploration, because I used this deck this month, especially since I started mid-month to do daily readings. So I alternated this with some other decks. Having it for a month again, because I didn't get a chance to explore it, because at the beginning of the month what I wanted to do was not only try it for some different kinds of readings, but also to pair it with some other decks to see what decks worked well with it. And this was going to be kind of my first deck of the year where I was going to have that kind of liberty, because it is a very familiar deck in terms of the imagery. Is pretty much just a photographic creative rendering of the Rider-Waite-Smith in real life. And I didn't get a chance to do that. I did not get a chance to do that. My life was hijacked by work and exhaustion. So yeah, it deserves another month. Or I'll put it this way, I deserve another month with it. Because I think I would have really enjoyed spending that extra time. And I don't know, there's just even though, you know, despite the dire aspect, there's just a fun vibe somehow to this deck. To the, or I get a warm, somehow a warm, fun vibe, even though the people for the most part are very sober in all of the images. And oh, that's a creepy card. That devil card is ultra creepy. I don't know. So yeah, I deserve to spend more time with this deck in a more fun, experimental, I don't know, free-ranging kind of way, I guess, in terms of pairing it with oracles and whatnot. Okay, so I'm going to call that done. You're still going to see this. Actually, I'm not sure. I'll try to put this up this weekend, this particular video. You'll still see this throughout the week because we are still in July. But I had a moment, and so I decided to take that moment and do a bit of a closing for this deck of the month. And I don't know, I might wait till next weekend or later in the week to introduce the Santa Muerte. All right, everybody. I will call it done with that. No reason to drag this on. So we will end with the Emperor. And thanks for hanging out as I experimented with, well, I didn't experiment with this deck, as I used this deck throughout the month. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Take care. Bye-bye.